Today is Thursday, October 2nd, 2014, and I would like to talk about the upcoming election, which was 5 weeks ahead, minus 2 days. 5 weeks minus 1 day, we will know where the Senate stands, we will know where the House stands, and the gridlock that has been going on in Washington for a long time, and it's not the result of both parties, it's not the result of one over another, it's the result of a complete and continual Republican obstructionism. Now, having said that, with the election coming up, I would like to dedicate this to all of my sisters, especially those of minority or of color, in terms of how vitally important this election is and the areas that it is most important, and hopefully the areas that if you are in those particular areas that your vote counts, and your vote counts tremendously. So right now we do know, well, it's not a presidential election, so we have the House, the Senate, and some governorships. Perhaps I will speak on the governorships later. As of right now, it appears that the House will continue to be in Republican hands, and that leaves the Senate up right now, because the election in seven states will pretty much determine whether or not the Democrats remain the majority in the Senate, or whether or not they fall and that the Republicans get the majority in the Senate. If the Republicans get the majority in the Senate, whatever was gridlocked for the last couple of years will just be factored in by 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever. And I don't want to see that happen. I want to win. So again, I'm dedicating this to women, ladies of color, and how vitally important your vote is. So if we look at the battleground states in terms of the Senate, we're looking at North Carolina, Louisiana, Arkansas, Iowa, Kansas, Colorado, and Alaska. And the one thing that I would like to say, the most important thing is that if anyone can vote in any of these Senate races, it is vitally important that you vote Democratic, that you vote for the Democrat. And I can tell you right off the bat, I can go into some of them individually. I don't know all of the players that much, but there isn't anything that the Republican candidate can offer to you, anything, if you're making less than $50,000 a year. Can't offer anything to you if you're making less than $60,000, $75,000. Maybe if you're making a little bit more than that, there might be a few things that they could offer, only in the sense that perhaps they would be able to cut your taxes a teeny bit. And I remember when Nixon, when Bush claimed that he was cutting taxes, you know, he cut the taxes, let's say by the rich by 5%, 10%, you know, whatever it was. You know, he cut the taxes for the middle classes by 1/10 of 1%. Or whatever it was, I don't know what it was. So it was astronomically a small amount. So when you're making a couple $1 million a year and you get a 5% deduction, that's a lot of money. But when you're making only $75,000, $100,000 a year or less, and you get 1/10 of 1%, that's really not much money at all. It's maybe enough to buy lunch or something like that. So if you're not in the high income bracket, there's absolutely nothing that can be done that a Republican will do to help you in any way, shape, or form. Now, if, you know, from a woman's standpoint, you know that most of these candidates, Tillis especially, Cotton especially, Joni Ernst especially, who else? The Garner, is that the guy's name in Colorado? I mean, do not, you know, want to have freedom of government from anything, you know, no taxes, no regulation, no nothing. But what a woman does in her bedroom, that's where they get involved. And as far as I'm concerned, I don't think that anyone should tell a woman what to do about that in any way, shape, or form. However, at the same time, it's more than just telling a woman what to do. You know, it's doing things that hurt women. I mean, we should have single-payer health care in the United States so that everyone's insured. But since we're not, we have to have these other organizations that provide help, especially for women, like Planned Parenthood, which 97% of the things that they do is to just help out women with normal things that women are that involve women: breast cancer, pap smears, things like that. And if you don't have insurance, you need some type of vital services, and this is what those places offer. And that these Republican candidates want to cut them out completely, want to deny women basic health care, to deny women their ability to get contraceptives so that they can determine how they want to live their life, so that they can plan their family at their time and their choosing. And some of the things that they've done, it just makes my skin crawl in terms of what they said derogatorily towards women. So no one that's and like I said, I just mentioned 4 or 5. I didn't mention all 7 because I don't know exactly what the other ones are doing. But there isn't anything that a Republican can offer you if you're making a certain amount of money. There isn't anything any of those Republicans will offer you if you're a person of color. There isn't anything any of those people are going to offer you if you're a person of color and a woman. There is just nothing that they want to offer. This is all they can talk about. Jobs. Why jobs? The only way you're going to get jobs is by cutting taxes. The only way you're going to cut taxes is by cutting taxes to the rich, because the rich pay more in income taxes. Notice they said only income taxes, not all the other taxes like sales taxes and other types of taxes that everyone pays. All right. So the Republicans here are using sleight of hand. They want you to make more money. They want you to keep more money of the money that you have. They want to raise the minimum wage. No. They don't want to do that. Why do we even have a minimum wage? We have a minimum wage because we have notoriously terrible human beings who run companies who don't care how much they hurt someone. That old story of the Christmas story with Bob Cratchit. He got a piece of coal to keep him warm on Christmas Day because he was supposed to work that day. And that's just a terrible way to live this. You have to work for someone who doesn't want to even help you feed your family enough. All right, that's why we have labor laws. That's why we have we have child labor laws. That's why we have a minimum wage. And the minimum wage is barely paying enough as it is anyway. And any of these Republican candidates, they'll say they may address the minimum wage. That just means that when it comes up, they're going to kick it down the road. They say most of them are against Social Security. Most of them are against Medicare. They're against anything that helps the average working person. So I'm going to keep this short. There are 7 elections for Senate that are vitally important: North Carolina, Louisiana, Arkansas, Kansas, Iowa, Colorado, Alaska. They need to be won by the Democrats. If anyone can vote, if anyone has the opportunity to vote in that state, it's vital that you vote for a Democrat. If you're a person of color, if you make less than $50,000, if you make less than $60,000, if you make the minimum wage, if you're a professional and you think that men in your office are making more than you, then all of those things, any of those Republicans do not want to help you with in any way, shape, or form. They'll song and dance around it. Yes, they'll consider working on Social Security. Yes, they might consider with the minimum wage. But those are all just things to put people off, to put it back back on the shelf, and then when it comes back in. Also, I understand in Iowa that Joni Ernst, but it seems to me as if a particularly vile individual in terms of was willing to get rid of Medicare, willing to get rid of Medicaid, willing to cut back on Social Security. All of these things affect women the most. That soft-spoken, nice, we'll consider this, they won't. They'll kick it down the road once they get the chance. Once they get the power, they'll do everything that they had ever said that they cut back on in terms of what they're saying as the election is coming up. They're a little bit more soft-spoken, they're not quite as hard right. They will go full hard right. They'll take that full right turn and they'll just sprint from then on out. And it is vital that they not get elected.